So I finally watched the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in theaters, and boy, was it fire. Holy shit. I'm not sugarcoating it here when I say the animation was on par, if not better, than Across the Spider-Verse. At least when it comes to style alone. I honestly caught myself just gawking and staring at these character designs and the backgrounds. Now, as someone who just started picking up doing art himself, this was quite inspiring.
Oh my god. Fucking god, terrible.
But before we get into this amazing animated movie, have you guys ever struggled with a bad habit? What if I told you there's a better way to break your bad habit? I am, of course, talking about Fume, a company that looks at the problem in a different way. Because not everything in a bad habit is necessarily bad. So instead of just cutting everything out cold turkey, why not remove the bad from the bad habit? Fume is an innovative, award-nominated device that does just that. Instead of electronics, Fume is completely natural. Instead of vapor, Fume uses flavored air. And instead of harmful chemicals, of course, Fume uses all natural flavor. Your Fume comes with an adjustable airflow to control how much you suck. And also it just has like a bunch of moving parts. It kind of, is like a fidget thing that you can mess with. Just keep your hands busy, keep your mind busy. And it also comes in a multitude of different flavors. And they just released 3 new flavors. The one I got right now is sparkling grapefruit, absolutely delicious. And the other 2 new ones is orange vanilla and raspberry lemon. Honestly, every single flavor I've tried from Fume has been absolutely amazing. It's just really, really refreshing. See, just by the build and the look of it, like this thing ain't light. Like it's a pretty hefty piece of meat, but it's definitely going to be a talking point. I'll tell you that much. But if you guys are thinking about breaking that bad habit, taking the bad out of the bad habit, go to tryfume.com/bionicpig and use code bionicpig to save an additional 10% off your order today, or you could obviously just click that link in the description. Do it. But before we talk about the movie and how goddamn good it is, let's talk a little bit about the lead up to this movie, because boy, was it a mess. Now let me ask you something here. What has been happening lately? Almost every single new movie, there's always something that happens, right? Every time you see a new movie release, there's always that group of people salivating at the mouths. Call them the woke police. They got their whiteboard with like the big checklist of all the things that they hate, and if it just so happens to be in that movie, they will make sure everyone knows how much it offends and triggers them. And boy, they took it and ran with it with this movie. Now, what makes this movie so special is the fact that the gripes with this movie are not just, silly and just stupid. Honestly, it'll probably take you a second to absorb the critiques of this movie, but also half the shit they're complaining about isn't even real. Splinter, is he gay? My Splinter, my rat daddy? He's gay? I tremble at the thought. So to explain this situation, before the movie was released, there was a promotion poster for Scumbug, a character in the movie. And on this promotion, it said himself, which is a big problem because in the movie, Splinter falls for this character. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but it's kind of gay. Now, sure, it is a talking humanoid rat making out with a humanoid cockroach, but they're gay. The fact that they're gay, I'm uncomfortable with that, but, a cockroach smacking faces with a rat, that's cool with me. But the funny part about all this drama is it isn't even gay in the movie. Apparently, this was a mistake by the promotion team or something like that. But the movie I saw, Scumbug was referenced to as a female throughout. They said her, they said she. I've never once heard them refer to her as a he. But the fact that they care way more about him making out with a guy rather than the fact that it's a rat making out with a cockroach just shows where their priorities are. Honestly, these people think way more about gay things than gay people do. but this drama was actually huge. There were so many posts about it, so many different videos about it. And I've actually watched a few of these videos, and the only defense I guess they have about this is it's not canon. It's not what the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was supposed to be.
Guys, I have no rush to go and check this movie out. Again, I hadn't seen it yet, but I was like, you know what? That honestly would not surprise me if they did that, because that's how Hollywood is nowadays. You can't be a good character without being gay or having some kind of political identity. Tried to ask around. I asked one of my fellow friends who watched the movie already, is Master Splinter gay? And he told me that Master Splinter's on dating websites and stuff in this movie. I don't know if he was being sarcastic or if he was being real. Again, I have no desire to watch this movie yet. Maybe once I watch it, I can confirm for myself.
Now, I want to say this is coming from someone who's seen a lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff as a child, but hear me out, guys. Isn't telling the same story in the same way every single time kind of boring? You know? Like, I don't know. I don't want to go to the movies and see the exact same story that I've seen 100,000 times. You know what I mean? That's what people call creativity. But you are allowed to take a story and kind of make it your own way. You know, that's what creative control is. There are actually a lot of differences in this movie compared to what the original canon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is, and I freaking love it. I mean, wouldn't you want something fresh and unique to cleanse that dry ass palate of yours? Which I just want to mention, this movie is and will bring back Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for sure. At the end of the credits, there is a cutscene teasing a second movie, which I'm insanely excited for. But my son, who's never seen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in his entire life, was obsessed with the movie. Wouldn't even stop talking about it since we left the theater. But I feel like this movie is a perfect combination, giving those 90s kids that little bit of nostalgia, while also giving the new generation a great experience. Let's move on to the next set of drama before we get into this movie. April's ugly. Yeah, that's drama, I guess. April's just not hot enough for people. And I want to preface this entire section with the idea that April's 16, right? I want to clarify that. April's 16 years old. I don't know. Kind of weird. But this is one of those situations, you know, the classic case of people getting angry that the woman character who was white, big boobs, very, very skinny, happens to be a normal looking human now. There were so many different videos of people talking about this. The fact that these weirdos are caring so much about her not being attractive enough to them when she's 16 years old in an animated kids movie, which I just want to mention, it's not really a kids movie. It's kind of an everybody movie, definitely a family movie. But also, you know, just spitballing here, isn't this a great thing for women everywhere? I mean, media's portrayed women in an unrealistic standard throughout time. Every women character had to be white, big boobies, insanely skinny, and completely unrealistic. But now that people are finally choosing women that look realistic, and honestly, I would just like to mention, I don't understand why people are saying April is ugly in the slightest. She's actually a very cute looking girl in the movie because she looks normal. But now that movies are finally choosing women that look realistic, every neckbeard is just screaming at their monitor because they can't masturbate to a 16-year-old animated teenager. It's so grotesque just seeing how many people are actually upset behind this change. And everyone keeps going to back, well, it's canon. Well, it's canon. She's always been. Let me counter that with another question. Why not? Why not change it? What is the problem? That's what I don't get, because the only thing I am finding in every single one of these videos is the fact that she's not hot enough for you. That's weird. You're weird.
If you've seen the trailer for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, then you have witnessed April O'Neil's ugliest iteration yet, apparently pointing out the, you know, objective elephant in the room, in this case, that being April O'Neil, makes you a bigot. Okay.
No, it doesn't necessarily make you a bigot, Mrs. Melanie Mac Go Boom. But there's a problem with the first 30 seconds of your video here. You say objective here. So you're saying that beauty is objective, not subjective, right? So there's only one prime beauty source, and that is the perfect beauty specimen, right?
So if you have not seen her yet, I'm sorry, I have to be the one that has to show you. People want to sit here and argue and say, but she's cute. What are you talking about? She's cute. Okay, maybe you can think that. Maybe individually you might think she's attractive or she's just as gorgeous as she's ever been, but don't fool yourself into thinking that conventionally that is the case.
Oh, so not only objectively now, conventionally. Oh, so you literally just said, yeah, people probably think she's cute, but I don't. So, fuck you. You're saying objective and conventionally, and then you just admitted that everyone has their own version of beauty because beauty's in the eye of the beholder, and yet you're still making an 18-minute long video about why she is objectively ugly.
April is supposed to be beautiful. They could have given us a cute black April. They made her ugly on purpose. Race plays no role in that. If they still tried to make her really cute, in this case, she's supposed to be young. I don't even think she's supposed to be an adult.
Then why are you talking about her body and her looks if you know for a fact she's underage?
Then they still could have made her cute.
So the version of character that you use to display her as being cute is a character that is insanely, unnaturally skinny. There is about a foot of space in between her legs. She is skin and bones. That's your version of a perfect, objectively cute character? Are you seeing the problem here? This objective and conventional form of beauty that has been, shoved down everyone's throat throughout time? Have you ever thought about how that's not good for women and their mental health? Posting unnatural, unattainable beauty. It's honestly genuinely sad when you see this coming from a woman. So just to save you guys a watch, throughout this video, she talks about how we need to follow the beauty standard. She actually says that we need to follow a beauty standard. She mentions Megan Fox as a version of the perfect beauty standard, and how even someone who doesn't find her attractive has to admit that she's attractive.
Now, it's not because she's black that I have an issue with it. It's the fact that they made her look absolutely ugly. Anybody defending this could not honestly tell me that this is not a far cry from other iterations that we've seen of April O'Neil. She's fat, gross looking, she looks like a lunch lady. I'm not trying to fat shame at all.
Look, bro, if you're gonna say some shit like this, just own up to it. You don't have to sugarcoat yourself. Just go in. Go balls deep,
So we can't have a pretty looking girl in charge of the Ninja Turtles. No, we have to have a fat woman that everybody can relate to because everybody's a snowflake now.
And another counter argument I see a lot is people saying, oh, this is just bait by the big corporations, so no one is allowed to critique it because if they critique it, they're called racist.
This was a very deliberate choice to make her look like that because they knew the reaction that they would get. And to be fair to them, they got it.
It is funny that the first thing it reminds me of is Velma. I'm like, oh.
Yes.
It's uncanny, isn't it? This is going to serve an obvious purpose because it's the same thinking that went into anything, like whether it was recasting Ariel from The Little Mermaid with a black actress or whether it was something like Velma. It's like to try and make your product critic-proof because the moment anyone raises a question about this, the moment anyone objects to it, well, you can just label them with the big old racist label and that's it.
See, the reason this makes absolutely zero sense to me is they even use Velma as a reference to the situation, but that makes no sense because everyone critiqued Velma. Literally everyone hated Velma. Leftists, progressives, snowflakes, everyone hated Velma. You want to know why? Because they critiqued it based on the content of the show, which is what no one is fucking doing. Literally every single video that I have shown has been uploaded before the movie was even released. So trying to spin that narrative that you're not allowed to critique this or you'll be called racist is complete bullshit. Now, maybe you'll be called racist because you haven't even seen the movie and all everyone's doing is just critiquing what she looks like. But yeah, it kind of makes sense that people would jump to that because you haven't even seen the damn movie. It would be completely different if her character sucked, but her character doesn't suck. Her character is actually phenomenal in this movie. God, these people are just grasping at straws to try to find something to complain about at this point. I'm sure a lot of you might not be racist here, but you all have one thing in common. You're kind of stupid. All right, let's chill out with the drama, with the controversy. Let's talk about the actual movie, the thing that matters, the content of the movie. Because the sad part about this, like I said in the beginning of the video, the animation is so goddamn cool. And the reason for that is not only the fact that you could see all of these sketch marks, everything you could tell as being hand-drawn, but the reason I love these character designs and all the backgrounds and everything is the fact that nothing is symmetrical. Which, don't get me wrong, symmetrical doesn't mean bad or anything, but I feel like when everything is over symmetrical, it could definitely feel kind of flat and boring. But everything in this movie feels organic, rough, and real. Nothing is smooth or polished. Everything is sketched out and scratchy. It reminds me of Rango in a way, because Rango had the similar asymmetrical feel where every single character and building and stuff, nothing was like perfectly in line. Like this movie when it came to the buildings, the people, televisions, like everything is slightly askew. Everything's leaning to the side. One side is different than the other. It gives so much life and vibrancy to the characters. You really won't be able to take your eyes off the screen. I was catching myself just looking at the backgrounds here and there, just seeing how cool the designs are. Now let's talk about the dialogue in the movie, because this movie did something that I didn't think any movie could do. Gen Z dialogue without it being cringe. It really feels like you took real teenagers out of today's world and put them in a movie. If you're like me and deeply ingrained in like internet culture, there are moments in the movie where you start to question, how the hell do they even know that? Like, whoever was on the writing staff, you could tell that they knew what they were doing. This doesn't feel like an old man trying to write dialogue for teenagers. This feels like actual teenagers writing dialogue for teenagers. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the dialogue in this movie, a lot of this dialogue in the movie with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles could potentially have been improvised. And also it could be by the fact that they're all voiced by younger adults and teenagers, which was such a great idea. I feel like the whole 20 to 30-year-old playing a teenager thing is just, you know, it's run its course. I think we need to move on with that. And boy, did these actors nail it. And the movie had such a great cast, and everyone did such a good job. We had Ice Cube as the main antagonist. We had John Cena in there, Post Malone, Paul Rudd, Maya Rudolph, Hannibal Buress. And the awesome part about these teenage actors that played the main characters is the fact that some of these teenagers aren't even that well known. They're not like superstar actors or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, they do have some star power in this movie, but the fact that the main cast doesn't really have that star power, but it delivered so well is so cool. They actually found genuinely good teenage actors in this. Now for the story itself, I honestly am not sure if it's canon or not. I mean, you could obviously ask the canon police if it's canon or not. I really don't care, and honestly, to be fair, I could care less. Because me, I love seeing different interpretations of work. I feel like recycling the same shit over and over is just stupid. It's always cool to see different interpretations, different creative works of something that you know very well. But the story itself, I feel like, is honestly great. It kept me interested throughout the entire movie. The idea of them trying to figure out a way to be able to live in the human world without them hating them, and their journey of becoming heroes and how they become heroes is really interesting. And the main villain, voiced by Ice Cube, which I just want to mention, Ice Cube did a fantastic job of this character being like a likable villain. Sometimes it's hard to make a likable villain, but I honestly really liked him as a character. And the parallels of Splinter and Superfly both being that overprotective father type dealio, kind of showing what Splinter could have became or could become with that deep ingrained hatred for humanity, because it's literally the same motivation for every single other mutant in this entire movie. However, he kind of just took it to a little bit of an extreme level. And the fight scenes, oh boy, that's what we want, baby. When we watch a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we're wanting the fight scenes, and boy did they deliver. They're hype. Yeah, I said it, they're hype. It even got me, nearly a 30-year-old man, super pumped watching this shit. Combination of an amazing soundtrack. God, I can't express enough how everything in this movie is so good. That part where they're playing No Diggity as they're beating the shit out of some bad guys is, oh god, it's so good. Got me as hyped as me in like 2009 watching Naruto vs Sasuke, a Linkin Park AMV on YouTube. It's that hype. And not to mention the cinematography and choreography in this is so cool. The transitions of the fights of each character, and how there's like 4 different fights going on and they seamlessly transition into each other, interwoven into one big fight. Honestly, the scene where they go find information from 4 different groups of bad guys and they all like interconnects with each other is so beautifully done. One of the best scenes in the entire movie. Still geeking out about it. And it is ironic with all of this hate of this movie and drama and controversy, because the entire allegory of the movie is about acceptance, ironically. April, throughout the movie, we see that she's bullied and picked on because she threw up in front of a camera in school. You know, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles being shunned by society completely because they all hate him because what they look like. You see what I'm saying? Everyone in the entire internet is complaining about what April looks like, where in the movie, the main characters are trying to get people to accept them because they look different. That's literally the entire premise of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You're all idiots. But I honestly can't express enough how good this movie was. I'm slightly irritated about all the drama and controversy trying to get people to not watch this movie. Go watch the damn movie. Hell, my mom came with us to this movie, and she loved this movie too. I'm honestly struggling trying to think of a gripe about this movie. I think the only gripe I have is just the drama behind it. There really isn't a character that I disliked. The comedy in this movie was great. They really nailed the character of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So all I could say at the end of this video is go watch this damn movie. Do yourself a favor. You know what else you should do before you go watch that movie? Like this video. Subscribe to me. Tell your friends about me. Share it. Notification button. I cast a spell upon you. You must do it. You must. All right, thank you for watching. Bye.